Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Matt Bernier are kicking off the late pick 4 at the Great Race Place on Saturday with graded stakes action. Race number 6 is the Grade 2 Charles Whittingham Stakes for turf runners going 1.25 miles. Our coverage presented by DRF Bets. Free cash waiting for you. Learn more at drf.com/bet when you sign up for your new DRF Bets account. Let's take a look at the field for the first leg of the pick 4 at Santa Anita on Saturday. And Matt, the race really goes through the number 6. It's in the Post, who has just taken up the mantle as the leading turf course west of the Rockies. I know you were disappointed last time out in the Elkhorn because talk about looms boldly turning into the stretch. He couldn't get by One Go All Go. No disrespect to One Go All Go, he's a nice horse, but you would have thought that It's in the Post would have went by him.
Yeah, and it's going to sound like it's disrespect to One Go All Go, and that just really is all that happens with One Go All Go. He's just very unappreciated, which is unfortunate. But that's kind of the way that I look at it. It's in the Post. If he was the horse that I thought he was in races prior, he just blows the doors off that field. And for one reason or another, whether you believe it's him going off form slightly because he's raced quite a bit over the past year and a half or so, or maybe it was just a day that he wasn't feeling great. I don't know what it was, but to me, that was a very disappointing effort. And at what's likely to be 3 to 5 on Saturday afternoon, I just don't know that I totally trust him. I love him, but I wonder if this is an opportunity to try to beat him.
Think you got to use him in the pick. Don't want to get knocked out by It's in the Post. 6 to 5 on John White's morning line. Getting back to his favorite turf course. He's won his last 4 races at Santa Anita and has the kind of tactical speed to make his trip. But I'm with you. I was a little bit disappointed in that Elkhorn performance. We've got a couple of horses coming out of the San Francisco Mile at Golden Gate Fields on March the 31st. And boy, you scored out with Flamboyant at 11 to 1 that day. Kind of a tale of 2 trips, wasn't it, though, between Flamboyant and Syntax?
Yeah, I mean, it's a scenario where everything happened to work out beautifully for Flamboyant, which is unlike him because usually he ends up having issues. You know, he's had issues in the past. But I think the bigger piece for me with Flamboyant, as opposed to a horse like Syntax, and why I think a lot of people, and myself included, would prefer Syntax Saturday, is because of the distance. I've always maintained that Flamboyant is 8 to 8.5 to 9 furlongs. You start getting out to this 10 or 12, you're going to have a major issue. Conversely, I think Syntax wants every bit of ground. And I just kind of figure, too, you also look at the trip, like you say, Syntax, things didn't go according to plan.
Not at all. While Flamboyant saved ground every step of the way, shot on through along the hedge at the 3/16 pole and went on to win by a neck. Syntax looked like he got shuffled back a little bit on the turn, split horses 4 wide late on the turn, and then swung all the way to the 6th path, turning into the stretch, and he was running at the end of that race. You make a very good point about this horse stretching out in distance, but do you get the feeling that Syntax is one of those horses that kind of gets into trouble as well?
That's the problem with me before I could fully buy into a horse like him. You see, he's run 2nd or 3rd on 10 different occasions. He's not the most sort of picture perfect kind of horse that you want to see go out there. It's hard to trust him at a short number, and I guess that's another instance on Saturday. In many ways, he's probably the second choice. I don't know that you want him in a second choice.
Full of luck, the 2 cross-entered in the Gold Cup at Santa Anita on dirt, cross-entered in Sunday's Lone Star Park Handicap on dirt. Every single one of his wins in his native Chile have come on turf. The San Francisco Mile, heck, it was his first start of a layup. You can give him a mulligan there. I guess if you believe in his South American form against this kind of field, if you think It's in the Post is trending kind of off form, he's got an outside shot.
Yeah, if they run him on Saturday, I think this is the spot. I think it's better than running in the Gold Cup. But at the same time, I do wonder, is he just that kind of horse we've seen? It's been some time since the South American horses really come up here and grab the bull by the horns. I think a minor reward they would be happy with.
Frank Conversation was the runner-up in this race in 2017, making his 2nd start of the form cycle. He ran in the San Francisco Mile, and I thought he was forwardly placed, had a decent enough trip, and just didn't pop in the stretch. Was it simply a situation that he needed a race off the layoff?
It's kind of the way that I'm looking at it now. I've never been the biggest Frank Conversation fan, but I think he's better than what we saw there at Golden Gate. And now, in a race like this, a little bit of additional distance, I don't think that's a problem for him. Both times he's gone 1.25 miles, he's hit the board. I kind of feel like he can be forward, and I suppose if you don't think that It's in the Post is the same horse that he was, Flamboyant, distance problems possibly, full of luck, maybe they go here, maybe they don't. Maybe Frank Conversation is interesting at a big number.
Let's take a look at the Timeform U.S. Pace Projector and discuss the 3 protagonists, beginning with the pressers. You liked Kenji Storm 2 back for 75. You were rewarded with a 7-2 win. Last time out in the American Stakes, he kind of let What a View just get away from him that day. Do you think they're going to try similar tactics and let What Of You, the number 4, get to the early lead, or do you think they're going to be a little bit more aggressive coming out of the gate?
You know what concerned me the most about that American? Now, Kenji Storm has always been a horse I've been a fan of, but whenever they've really sort of given him the acid test, he hasn't really been able to pass it, and that's why he's lived in that sort of 75 range for his entire career. When he got up close to What Of You, and like you say, they kind of let him go out on the front end, but when they got close, he got turned away pretty easily, and I kind of feel like the additional distance isn't going to be Kenji Storm's friend. I hate to say it, I think he is what he is, sort of a nice miler that maybe with a listed stakes race he can run in, but I don't think he's quite good enough.
I think you could probably make the same case for the other presser, the number 7, Ritzy AP, who just hasn't been able to do it when stepped up against better competition. Ritzy AP raided off What Of You in the American to no avail in his first start of the year, and then was more aggressively ridden last time out at 1 1/8, and he still got beat, albeit to a nice runner in multiplier. Ritzy AP, I guess, can provide a little pace pressure, but he might be outclassed.
I think between he and Kenji Storm, the only reason I would go toward Ritzy AP a little bit more is simply because I think he'll appreciate 10 a little bit more than Kenji Storm, but I agree with you. They're very much in the same kind of cut.
You and I agree with our top selection, however, in this year's Grade 2 Charles Whittingham Stakes. And as we throw up our pick, we think it's going to be wire to wire, and then we go wire to window with the number 4, What Of You.
Yeah, What Of You. It's nice to see him get back to his winning ways in that most recent start in the American, but I think there was something that maybe initially I was a little bit reluctant to look at and just accept for what it was, but looking back, yeah, basically the fact that he was allowed to get out there in a little bit of a softer lead and not have to deal with anybody dogging him the whole way, that made a big difference. He had something left in the tank down the lane. Now, I'm fascinated to see how he's going to handle this distance because he's never gone this far in his career. I have to be honest, if they let him get out there and a horse like this, who we know on his best day is capable of sub 46 for a half, if you let him get out there and he's loose going 48 or 47 and change, maybe he can get brave and maybe that 10th furlong isn't really going to be that big of a deal. I'll take a shot here with What Of You and hopefully he wires.
I agree, and he's won a couple times at 1 1/8, so I'm hoping he can get that extra furlong with a jump on these horses. I think Stuart Elliott, who really rides this turf course very, very well, just has to time it right when to let him go on the turn and open up and say, catch me if you can, boys. What Of You's last race, the American, I thought it was a good performance. You could certainly make excuse for a Kilroe race where it was just a fast pace up front, 2 starts back, and 3 back in the Daytona going down the hill. That was just simply a prep race, not his game. I think What Of You's getting back into his form. Kenny Black had options. He could have gone into other spots. He's taking a shot here in a Charles Whittingham. We're both going to try to take him wire to wire. Give me some numbers.
4, 6, 7, 8, and like you say, I mean, we have to acknowledge it's in the post. If he runs his race, he's strictly the horse to beat. But I think if you're going to beat him, probably Saturday's the day.
4, 6, 1, and 8 for me in the Grade 2 Charles Whittingham. Kicking off the pick 4 at Santa Anita on Saturday. Again, you can play the bet with your new DRF Bets account. Free cash waiting for you. DRF.com/bet is where you need to go. Approximate post time for the first leg of the late pick 4 at the Great Race Place on Saturday, 3 o'clock Pacific. Good luck.